glad you're all here. Thank you for coming. I'm leaning a little bit so that I project. I usually don't need a microphone because I'm really loud, but I thought I would use one tonight. And so good evening, and thank you so much for coming. I want to welcome you on behalf of all the employees of the Principal Financial Group and on behalf of the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines. So I want to thank you for being here, and we are here to honor two very special people, and I think the word honor is going to come up a lot tonight because I am so honored to take part in this program. Dave Hurd was CEO of the Principal Financial Group when I started with the Principal, so I have known Dave for over 2 decades and have admired him, and he has been a great teacher and mentor to me, and I have known Barb through so many community activities over the years, so it's really great for us to be here to have the honor to recognize Barb and Dave on all of their for all of their great work, and specifically for their work on behalf of the Chinese Cultural Center of America and the Robert D. Ray Asian Gardens. And so I'm going to just lay out the program a little bit and make a couple of introductions. In a moment, we're going to hear from several people who know so much about Dave and Barb's generosity to our community and their good work. We're going to hear from Barry Griswold, the president of the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines. We'll hear from Paul Shao, who is president of the board of directors for the Chinese Cultural Center of America. We'll hear from Governor Ray, from Governor Robert D. Ray, and from Larry Zimpelman, chairman and CEO of the Principal Financial Group. And of course, we'll hear from our honoree, Dave Hurd, who will share some details about his latest news about the Robert D. Ray Asian Gardens. So before we begin, let's make sure we do recognize some of our special guests. Of course, Governor Ray is here, and Billy are here. So I know that Representative Wayne Ford is on his way. Supervisors Bob Brownell and E.J. Giovanetti are here, somewhere in our crowd, so wave if you're nearby. Rick Clark is here representing the city of Des Moines. Hi, Rick. We're happy to welcome several of Dave and Barb's family here, so welcome to you. I want to introduce John and Jill Kraft. Thank you for being here. Marilyn Collis and Mark and Julie Collis. So we're so glad you could be here with us today. And I also understand we have several special guests here today who are visiting from China. I want to introduce Zhang Min, Ding Yang, from New York, Jay Sheng, and the group's interpreter, Sharon Wong. So let's see where our group is. Thank you. Thank you. And many of the senior management team and the employees of the Principal are here, so thank you for coming. Friends of Dave's and Barb's. I want to especially welcome Norman Sorensen, who is president of our international companies for Principal International. So welcome, Norman, and all of our senior management team. So it's great that so many people who appreciate Dave and Barb's contributions and friendship and lives have gathered here today. And to get things started, I want to welcome Barry Griswold.
Thank you very much, Mary. Can everybody see me? I'm delighted to be here, really representing two groups, representing my friends and colleagues at the Principal, but also my new friends and colleagues at the Community Foundation. I, too, have been influenced by Dave in enormous ways. I joined the company in 1988, and Dave was the president then, and he became the CEO the next January, 1989. And so I had the opportunity to work under Dave's leadership for a number of years. Toward the end of his career, I actually reported to Dave. And I can tell you, Dave is just a masterful executive. Anybody who's worked with him will tell you he asks the right questions. He gets deep into the issues that are at hand. He always does the right thing. He was a wonderful role model for all of us at the Principal. And importantly, he was a role model in terms of giving back to community. And I'm just so proud that Dave and Barb have decided, as Michelle and I have, to stay in the community and try to give back in our retirement years. And in that regard, he's a great, great role model. Now, I moved on to the Community Foundation, and I found myself in an unusual situation. I was reporting to Dave Hurd again. He was the chair of the board of the Community Foundation, and how fortunate I was to have almost a year under Dave again for him to guide and direct the activities of the Community Foundation. At the Community Foundation, we have with us tonight a number of people who are here as part of the Lifetown Legacy Society. And these are people who have made a decision to leave part of their estate to the Community Foundation to better our community. And here again, Dave and Barb have been such wonderful role models. What they're doing tonight is establishing an endowment for the Asian Gardens to make sure that it's maintained in high-quality ways, and what a wonderful gift back to the community that is. There are 150 people who have already signed up for our society at the Community Foundation. Many of them are here tonight. We've invited them. We had our last new member just a week or so ago. So not to oversell, but if you want to leave something in your estate, come see me or Kay or Sheila. But to Dave and Barb, I just want to say you are the role model that we all strive to be. We appreciate so much what you've done for the community. We'll not forget it in short time. And I just want to tribute to you for doing all that you do. And now let's hear from Paul Shao, who of course is the inspiration for this great work. Paul?
Thank you everyone for coming. Collecting almost $250,000 to the Chinese Cultural Center of America Capital Campaign. They wrote, one of the things that has motivated us to support the rapidly raised Asian Gardens is the thought that in a small way, this could be a small step towards world peace. Well, Dave, you have done it in a big way. Great leap forward, rather than one step. The ambassador of China was here, helping us to celebrate the groundbreaking ceremony. This pavilion is the only imperial-style pavilion outside of China. New York City, Chicago, San Francisco, they're harder. Many academic, cultural, and professional organizations in China have contributed in-kind support to make this structure possible in Moines. The color glaze tile were the same as those in the Forbidden City. It was made in the imperial kiln. We are good friends. The wooden structure under the roof were handcrafted by craftsmen whose normal responsibility are to restore and to renovate the building in the Forbidden City. The marble railing were done by artists who created what they call the monument for unknown hero, right smack at the middle of the tenement square. So we have something very unique that other people would not have, and we really are grateful for all of you as well as our Chinese partner to make this monument possible. We are not only honoring Governor Ray, who is the most caring, compassionate, and visionary leader in Iowa. We are also celebrating a lasting monument, promoting partnership for peace and for prosperity, as well as friendship, brotherhood, and sisterhood of humankind. So Dave, you have done a good job. Without you, this would not have been possible. I also, on behalf of the Chinese Cultural Center of America, thank all our donors, thank Principal Financial Group, the Greater Des Moines Community Foundation, as well as current, future donors. Thank you very much. Hope to see you around. I'll be down there. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And I also wanted to acknowledge Mike Simonson. Mike, where are you? Mike has been so involved in this project and in all of the efforts of the Chinese Cultural Center. Our next speaker needs little introduction. We're standing on a street named after him. We're standing next to the Asian Gardens named after him. And Governor Ray is a true humanitarian. He reached out to people in need. Halfway around the world, he extended a hand and opened the door for people to live new lives in Iowa and in the United States. And we're very honored to have the governor here and with Billy here tonight. So please welcome Governor Ray.
Mary, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know what I can add to these distinguished people who have already spoken to you about our honored guest today. Barry did a great job, and so did Paul. And he told you about a person who cares about other people, who cares about society, who cares about this community, and cares about cultural diversity. I'm just so happy that I have the opportunity to stand before you and say thank you. Thank you, Dave Hurd and Bob Hurd, for what you have done and what you are doing and the announcement you're to make tonight. I was asked to mention how this all occurred, and Paul, it was your idea, and it was very creative and very good, and people have jumped on it and they love it. But this all started when people from the Des Moines area particularly, but from the state of Iowa, said when people were being pushed from their homes in Southeast Asia that we could do something to help. And here we are, a small state in the middle of the United States of America, where people stepped up and said, let us help. The Taiwan people were being driven from country to country, from South China to South Vietnam to Laos. They had no place to go. They had nothing. They had everything taken from them. And they wanted to stay together if they could. So I got a letter, as did governors clear across the country, got a letter from a man by the name of Crisfield. He'd been a state employee, State Department employee, and he was serving in that part of the world. And he wrote all the governors, and then he wrote all the leaders, or the leaders at least, in Great Britain and Canada, asking for someone to come to the rescue of these people. And one governor answered, and that was I. And I could answer saying, we will do this, because we had people in Iowa who cared about the lives of other people. We didn't have to live in Des Moines, Iowa to be appreciated. Yes, I've gotten a lot of credit, and I appreciate that, but it's the people in Iowa that deserve the credit. It was amazing to me. We did some research and found out that these were good people. They were morally good people. They were family-oriented people. And our people stepped up and said, yes, we will find jobs for these people. We will help them. We will locate them. We'll find housing for them. English teachers said, we'll teach them English. And Iowans came together to do something that was absolutely remarkable. And we have been the beneficiaries of all of that effort. I've said many times, if you help people for the right reason, you'll be richly rewarded. And we have been. And so I want to thank our special person this evening. David, you've been remarkable. You care about people who have different cultures, have had different cultures. You care about us wanting to participate in a way in which we can all benefit from each other. And it's just a real distinct pleasure for me to be here tonight to say thank you.
Well, thank you, Governor Ray, for your great words and your heartfelt comments about Dave and Barb tonight. Governor Ray talked about the importance of welcoming people who are in need and may on the surface not be or seem unlike us. And Dave and Barb have subscribed to the same ideology. They're firm believer in experiencing other cultures and sharing our culture with others. And we have been so enriched and closer to peace because of Dave and Barb. And that's the reason we're here tonight. So please welcome Dave Hurd.
Well, I'm probably going to get to crying, and you'll just have to put up with it. I have given up the idea of using humor in my comments, and have switched over to being brief. In this year, Doug Reichart has had a variety of leadership responsibilities in the community, and he keeps bringing up the fact that one time years ago I was talking about Des Moines being a world-class community, and I think Doug bought into that thoroughly as a way of going about our days. He found excitement in this concept of world-class community. And here at Robert D. Ray Asian Gardens, we have an example of a piece of world class for our community. And sure, there's things like our downtown is spotlessly clean, and we've got a grass and flower median from the airport into town, and we have a clearly world-class sculpture garden and plethora of trails and so forth. So we're on our way, or we're part way there. Barb and I love Des Moines, and one of the exposures that we bring to it is 80-year-old Eric Hoffert. He had been a longshoreman on the wharves of San Francisco. And he was a maker of aphorisms, short sayings that carried great meaning. And one of his was that maintenance is the bedrock of civilization. Now, you couple that up with, say, a 1,000-year view and a desire for world-class status, I think we've got something that will last for a long, long time. Now, for this focus on maintenance, Barb and I are making a gift of $600,000 to the Community Foundation, who will invest and manage that money. And then in addition, we're adding to that, we're shooting for $1 million, $600 from Barb and I, $250 from principal, and another $150 to be found around the community. All right, now when that money goes into the Community Foundation, for the last 10 years, it's been earning at a rate of 8% a year. We're scheduling it for 5% a year to be used on maintenance and to accumulate the balance of it. So this is truly an eye for the long pull. And now, available to you through the Community Foundation is the ability to gain Endow Iowa tax credits, and you might want to look into that. Well,
here's the garden. It's going to be well maintained. It's going to last long. It's going to be a place where we can bring foreign visitors to show something about the way our community operates. It's a place where U.S. visitors can come and concentrate on peace and economic growth. Through this impact and the way we've been working on it, I would hope that there is an element of reaching out towards world peace. Thanks, and I really appreciate you being here.
For your generous gift, and it's my pleasure now to introduce Larry Zimpelman, the chairman and CEO of the Principal, and who follows in Dave's steps as a leader at the Principal.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you to all of you for coming. Those are three really, pretty tough acts to follow. So. Before I actually make my comments, I want to do one other thing. I hope you'll all join me in this. I happen to know that tonight there's at least two people here that are celebrating a pretty special evening, and that would be Jeff Null and Mary O'Keefe, who are celebrating their 25th wedding anniversary today. Mary said the roses were nice, Jeff, but that balloon on the top, you got to kind of work on that. So that's something to shoot for at 50, all right? All right, so you got 25 years to sort of clean that up. Secondly, Dave, thank you for your comments. You just saw a window into the wisdom of Dave Hurd, and as somebody who has had the opportunity, last week or the week before, I celebrated my 39th anniversary with the company. So I've gotten to see this man for 4 decades. Unfortunately, Dave, I haven't yet adopted your view on being short. I haven't quite gotten to that one yet. So you'll have to kind of bear with me on that one. But Dave has been an amazing person for this community, and I know many of us have been the beneficiaries of that. And Dave, to you and Barb, certainly your announcement of the $600,000 gift to preserve the beauty and integrity of this Asian Gardens is absolutely tremendous. And I just want to thank you on behalf of all of us here for your generosity and all that you have done to help us enrich the cultural experiences for the residents of Central Iowa. You know, again, if I could just veer off for a half a second, when Paul and Dave and Governor Ray and others had the vision for this, I had certainly never been to China, and the thought of ever kind of getting closer to China was something at that point that I couldn't even identify with. But it's amazing how fast the world changes, because as we sit here today, having this beautiful Asian garden in front of us, and knowing tonight that we'll also be able to keep it for many, many decades, if not centuries to come, which of course, by the way, is the Chinese way, isn't it, Paul? Right? We don't think in terms of decades or hundreds of years. We think in terms of centuries, in terms of China. But I stand here tonight kind of awed because I think about, for a company like Principal Financial Group, who, under Norman's leadership, we've just celebrated our 5th anniversary, 5 years of operating a mutual fund asset management company in China. And our joint venture partner is China Construction Bank, who, if you're not familiar with that, just happens to be the 2nd largest bank in the world, only to be topped by ICBC, another Chinese bank, which is the largest bank in the world. So we stand here tonight excited, Dave and Governor Ray and Paul Shao and everyone else who's had a hand in this, because we in fact host many people from China. We have principal employees here who are very active in that. And I must tell you what an amazing impression it makes when we bring people here and we show them and we talk to them about this garden and the cultural affinity that we have, not only for Asian cultures, but frankly for all cultures. I don't need to talk about Dave as a leader. You know, we've talked about that. I think it is fascinating. I don't know how many of you know the Dave Hurd story. You know, Dave was going to come to work at the principal just because he was trying to scrape enough money together to actually start his own business. And he actually did pretty well. So he came in 1954, and I think, as you heard, I think he retired some 40 years later as chairman and CEO. And as I said, I had the opportunity to work for Dave very, very closely, really starting in 1976. And, you know, Dave will have a lot of legacies, but I think in particular, there are two things that Dave had leadership that are going to drive our company for a long time. And the first one, of course, is our focus around the U.S. retirement services business. We would not be where we are today were it not for the leadership of Dave Hurd, starting back in 1974 when we had major pension reform. The second vision and the second area that this company will always be indebted to Dave Hurd for was his vision around international. You know, Dave started international in the kind of early 1990s when we were still trying to make sure we could compete in the U.S. Dave, he's already thinking about the next wave beyond. And when Dave thinks about the future, Dave doesn't think in terms of 5 years or 10 years. I think Dave must have a little bit of Chinese DNA in there somewhere, because Dave thinks in terms of 100 years, or 150 years, or 200 years. And so that was the vision that he brought to our principal international business, which still drives us today and has had a profound impact in the growth that we've seen in that business. So when Dave stopped by a couple months ago, and he said, you know, he sat down with Mary and I, and he said, you know, Barb and I are thinking about, you know, we need to make sure that that building stays in the pristine condition that it's in, and we're thinking that we want to give $600,000 to that building. And would you, principal, consider some sort of a gift? And I said, of course, Dave, we will. And so as we got to thinking about that and reflecting on that, you know, again, Dave retired in 1994, and I don't know how many of you were around. I see a few principal employees. And we thought about, and I said, well, what did we do when Dave retired in 1994? And the answer was, I bet Dave remembers, we had a 5K run. We had a run that was called Follow the Hurd, H-U-R-D. Do you remember, Dave? It actually started over by our buildings. It went down this street, as a matter of fact. It went up the street, turned around, came back. It was a 5K run. And several hundred of us came down and did the Follow the Hurd run. And then Dave, being his very kind, self-effacing person, you know, went off to retirement. Well, I don't think that's the way you should honor a person who has had as much of a contribution on the organization as Dave Hurd has had. So, as we thought about it, and as Dave has just said, you know, we felt like we wanted to do something more meaningful that would recognize the contributions of Dave Hurd to the Principal Financial Group. And so, as Dave just indicated, we're very proud, we're very pleased to be able to add to Dave and Barb's amazing $600,000 gift. We feel very pleased, Dave, to add to that our $250,000 to help make sure that this Asia Gardens will always be a place that every one of us will be proud of. So thank you very much. And with that, I think I know I'm pressing my time. I'll get out of here and I'll turn it back to Mary O'Keefe. Mary?
Thank you, Larry. I did want to mention that we have reached the end of our remarks, but the party continues, so please feel free to stay and have refreshments. And please note that Paul Shaw has graciously offered to go down to the pagoda to explain, to be able to give you information and provide more details about the Asian Gardens and the thought behind the Asian Gardens. So I really encourage you to take that opportunity. And we think that would be a great place to have some pictures, Dave, and to go ahead and celebrate with the whole group. So I want to thank you all. A special thank you to Governor Ray, to Billy Ray. I know Billy's here somewhere. And all of you who've made this celebration so meaningful. I want to take one more opportunity to thank Dave and Barb. While Barb couldn't be here in person with us this evening, we know that she is here with us, and we're with her in spirit, so I'm sure Dave will convey our deep appreciation and gratitude and and love for Barb. So please join me in one final round of applause for Dave and Barb. Thank you for coming. Oh, and I did want to thank everyone who organized the party tonight. So thank you to the committee who put this together. Thank you very much.